There have been a variety of proposals to reform San Francisco's instant runoff voting systems over the last year. Would you prefer to keep it as it is or change it? And if change it, how? And answering this question is Thea Selby, Andrew Resignato, and Hope Johnson.
Hi, I'm Thea Selby again, and I can answer this question very quickly, so I'm going to actually go back to public safety because I think I could have done a better job. The answer is I'm very happy with ranked choice voting the way it is right now. I worked for a candidate, her name was Malia Cohen. She was one of 22 candidates in District 10. She people didn't know she had a chance or not. She came off as the 5th. When we did our first place votes, and she ended up winning the race. I think it does what I want to do with politics, which is it gets more people in the race. I think that's a good thing. So that said and done, I do want to talk a little bit more about public safety and just say that we had a public safety meeting in the Lower Haight, and I want to sort of tell a little bit how that worked. When we did that, we had about 150 people there, and the idea was to bring in the merchants and the residents and their ideas, and that really works. That's what we found. We found that when merchants and residents work together, they can come up with really good ideas for public safety. That's how we've made a much more safe and thriving neighborhood in the Lower Haight, and that's what I advocate for. I want to also bring up a program called Year Up, which I've just heard about, which is a very exciting program. Speaking of opportunities, there are a variety of new programs out there. This is for 18 to 25-year-olds who are in the Western Addition and the Bayview, and it gives them an intense 7-month course for learning IT skills, and then they get picked up. 85% of them graduate, 85% of them get picked up with a job within 4 months. So there are some exciting programs out there. Thank you.
Andrew Resignato. I support instant runoff voting very much so the way it is. I think it's a great system. I think it saves us money. I think it gets people to run, a lot of people to run like Thea, who don't need a ton of money to run, which I think is a great thing for democracy. I also think it prevents low voter turnout runoff elections, which sometimes are below 10%. And that's not democracy, 10% of the people turning out and choosing who wins the election. So I think instant runoff voting is great. I think the problem with instant runoff voting is that people don't know what it is, don't understand it. And I was surprised because I talked to my campaign manager. I said, you know, on Facebook we should have a real simple video that could illustrate what instant runoff voting is. I couldn't find one that was really simple. And I challenged my other candidates to actually, as you're running, educate the voters about instant runoff voting. And even if we have to coordinate a day in which all our Facebooks are about instant runoff voting, let's educate the populace about the voting system that they're about to undertake in this election. Because I think instant runoff voting is great, I just think we need to educate people about it. And I yield back the balance of my time.
I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Hope Johnson. I absolutely support instant runoff voting. A lot of us would have no chance if being elected if we didn't have it. There are a number of reasons why. Number one is some of us don't have supporters who have a lot of money. So if you have to have an election and then have a runoff election afterwards, some of our supporters that don't have a lot of money, that aren't downtown developers, that aren't people who have special interests feeding them money, would not then be able to go back and ask those same people, hey, can you please pony up some more and support the tax measure? I don't think that the voters are that dumb. I think that they can understand instant runoff voting. How many of you understand instant runoff voting? I think it's just a matter of change. And anytime something changes, you have to get used to it. But I think it was well written. Everything has some problems. I would like to say that I think the discussion at City Hall about changing instant runoff voting is a red herring. They want the mayor who sets the policy to be somebody that they can buy, somebody that they can say, I mean, there is some legitimacy to people's arguments when we had the Matt Gonzalez and Gavin Newsom race, that the fact that they didn't have instant runoff voting, that gave Mr. Gonzalez an opportunity to win. But I still think that we would have that same thing happen And now that there's even more disparity in money, I think instant runoff voting is even more important. Thank you.
Our next question. As many of you know, the